Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, canons, religious, Chesterton of the Immaculate Heart students, families, staff, faculty. Good evening. My name is Dan Janeiro, and it is my honor to step into the role of headmaster this year at Chesterton Academy of the Immaculate Heart. I hope you all are enjoying yourselves so far. Hope. Hope is our theme for the evening. And hope is a strange thing, isn't it? As Catholics, we know that hope is a theological virtue, one of the big three. But it often seems to be the least of the three. Love gets all the press. And faith is who we are. It's the ground that we walk on and the air that we breathe. So what about hope? Why is it important to us here tonight? Let's face it. The world and this mic is a stormy place. And if we look to the horizon, we know that dark clouds loom, that it's likelier to get stormier. Like any good sailor, we know that there's danger in those storms, and we know what it can bring. That no matter how well built the craft, or how expertly we sail, we may be pushed beyond our limits. We may founder, we may crash upon the rocks of a weedy shore. And some would say it would be foolish to talk of hope. Our institutions, whether they be political, economic, cultural, or religious, wherever we look in the world, we seem to see little reason for hope. In education, too, we see the same darkening clouds. I've been a teacher for a while now. In fact, this is my 18th year, which means that this is my last year teaching students who have been alive longer than I've been in the classroom. And I've seen even storied Catholic colleges succumb to the secular winds of the day. So where are we to look? Catechism's a good place to start. In the Catechism, we read that hope is a theological virtue gained not through our own habit or strength, but by, and I'm quoting now, placing our trust in God's promises, relying not on our own strength, but on the help of the grace of the Holy Spirit. In Christian iconography, hope is often depicted as an anchor. Now, an anchor has to be strong, and of course, it's usually cruciform. It connects the fragile yet adventurous ship to a fixed point, a sturdy but unseen rock somewhere below the surface. And the purpose of an anchor is to keep the ship from swerving too far from safety, no matter what the waves and the winds might do. The anchor keeps the ship from being thrown upon a rocky coast. The sailors still must act. They must do what they can to keep the ship afloat. And they must ride out the storm. The theological virtue of hope, therefore, anchors us to the hereafter and inspires us toward two responses in the here and now: action and endurance. Just as grace builds upon nature, supernatural hope calls us to do what we can. This is not based on an expectation that we, through our own efforts, will be enough. It is not a hope based on a result. There is a moment in the Ballad of the White Horse, which the Chesterton students read sophomore year, when King Alfred Seeing his small group of defenders hemmed in on all sides by pagan Viking invaders, prays to Our Lady and is granted a vision of her. He asks her, if he fights, if there is any chance that they can win, he's asking for mortal hope, for a possibility of success, for a guarantee of the future. She gives him a lesson in theological virtue of hope. I tell you, not for your comfort, nay, not for your desire, save that the sky grows darker yet, and the sea rises higher. Not exactly the encouragement he was looking for. But the point she is making is she's asking Alfred to make a true distinction between himself and the pagans he is fighting. They fight for worldly hopes. Alfred must place his hope elsewhere. It is the pagans who wish for reassurances, but Christians do all that they can without weighing the odds of success. His hope is not based on what can be foreseen. It is based on what is unseen. Our Lady wants Alfred to fight regardless of how worldly objectives may be met or not. She wants Alfred to do what's right for its own sake, confident that no matter what happens, God's will can make good come of it. This hope, which to worldly eyes can seem naive or foolish, calls us to act and act again. With this hope, we do not get disheartened, because this hope is not based on expectations of results. So we must do all that we can with what we can. This is the action that theological hope inspires. But for how long? This is where endurance comes in. If there's a habitual virtue that most goes hand in hand with the theological virtue of hope, it's patience. So often, the answer to the hope of one generation is found in the next. Hope is about the long game, the vision that is wide enough and high enough to see that this world is anchored to the next. Setbacks will happen. Ventures stumble. Our worldly plans, like my plans for this mic, will seemingly come to nothing. And yet, hope encourages us to persist, to keep going, long after mortal endurance has been exhausted. Our mission is to educate students who will become beacons of hope to that stormy world, not because of their own strength, but because in wisdom they are humble enough to call on the strength of the Lord, who is glorified by working his ends through our weakness. Anchored to God, our students will themselves become reliable, fixed points in the lives of others. Tonight, our students have worked hard in hope to present the fruits of their education to you. That hope is a true hope, because they know that however they sing, dance, they do so for the glory of God, and not for the passing glories of this world. I will end by giving you a quote by the eminent Catholic philosopher Joseph Pieper. Hope is the virtue of people who know they are infinitely weak, easily broken, and rely firmly on God with utter trust. Peter, for the first time in his life, made a real act of hope. What I'm not capable of doing by my own strength, I hope for from you, O my God. Not by virtue of my merits, because I have none, but by virtue of your mercy alone. Theological hope can only come from a radical experience of our poverty. As long as we are rich, we rely on our riches. To learn hope, we have to pass through impoverishment. These experiences are the prelude to experiencing the goodness, faithfulness, and power of God. You'll hear from 2 students tonight and hopefully have a chance to talk to many more throughout the evening. They should give you firm evidence of our hope, why we take action, and why this education at Chester Academy of the Immaculate Heart will weather the tempest to come. May it also give you reason to hope, to take action, and to endure. And now that you've endured my speech, it's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you one of those students, sophomore Bo Brandon, who will speak a little more particularly about the arts that you will see and hear tonight.